What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Desai Guys Football Forum. I am one of your co-hosts, I'm Desai, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Desai Guys, Mr. Tad Desai. And Tad, this is a very, just like last week, it's just doubling up this week with the interestingness surrounding Thursday Night Football.
Real quick, though, even with all the weirdness going on around it, this is the best Thursday Night Football game we've had in, years.
It is one of the better ones. In case you don't know, we got the Green Bay Packers traveling to play the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals are still,
baby.
They are still, I was just about to say that, they are the only undefeated team left. They are 7-0. They are playing the 6-1 Green Bay Packers. And Tad, let's just jump right into it because, yeah, the Green Bay Packers are suffering from COVID at a key position, and not just key position, key player, and that is Devonte Adams. Now, he has been placed on the COVID-19 list, but it doesn't mean for sure that he has COVID. From reports that I have heard, it says that he is vaccinated. He just needs to produce a negative test 24 hours apart twice. That all made sense somehow, but it's
so basically what it means is, by the way, people, get vaccinated. I've been telling my students this, and this is some bullshit, by the way. My students get paid $50 if they get vaccinated. You know how much I got paid for getting vaccinated?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. But exactly why you should get vaccinated.
Yeah, did the right thing.
Whatever. Right thing, my ass. But, no, so this is exactly why players should get vaccinated, because if they are, he's still questionable for this game, or still up in the air. If he wasn't vaccinated, no way in hell he'd be playing this game.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. But on top of that, okay, potentially Devonte Adams doesn't play. Okay, that's gonna hurt your offense a little bit. But
we were supposed to be discussing in last episode.
That's exactly what we were supposed to do. I had this guy pegged as a waiver wire addition, and that's Allen Lazard. All of a sudden, as I'm driving home from work, I get an alert saying that, Allen Lazard has been also placed on the COVID-19 list, and on top of that, he is unvaccinated, so he is going to be quarantined for at least 5 days, and if you're wondering why it's only 5 days as opposed to like a week or 2 weeks or whatever the standard is, it's because he's a close contact person, so it's not confirmed that he actually has COVID, but the fact that he was a close contact to Devonte Adams, they're taking the precaution there, so he will for sure miss the game on Thursday, and that really depletes the Packers' receiving options. We brought this up in the previous episode, the waiver wire episode. This could be a very run-heavy game, and this could be a very good game for Robert Tonyan because he will get involved, I think, a lot. He's really the only dependable option in this passing offense. Yes, you could say Randall Cobb. I know he has familiarity with this offense, but unfortunately, just Randall Cobb is past his prime. I think he may get a fair dose of targets in the offense because he's the only guy that Rodgers can sort of go to, but just I don't see him doing much with those targets either. I wouldn't be surprised if he does score once, but I just don't see him absolutely going off where it's you need to scramble to the waiver wire to pick up this guy. Like I said, I'm very iffy on him. What are your thoughts on Randall Cobb, Tad?
Well, and don't forget, this Cardinals secondary is nothing to sneeze at now. Especially
true.
Nothing to sneeze at now with COVID. Don't sneeze at people. Don't just direct it the other way. Literally, I kid you not, the other day is one of my students lowered his mask so he could cough. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Wow.
Kids are stupid, man. But if any of my students are watching this, you're very smart. We're going to do great on that test on Friday. But I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah.
No, so I actually do like Randall Cobb as a potential breakout candidate. Robert Tonyan, obviously, if you want to know our thoughts on him, listen to our previous episode from earlier this week, the waiver wire episode, because I do think Tonyan is probably the best breakout candidate from this game. And we also cannot forget, I'm going to attempt this, Equanimous St. Brown.
I believe it's Equanimous St. Brown.
I knew I was going to screw that up.
Yeah.
St. Brown.
There you go.
There we go. St. Brown, I look out for him as another potential breakout candidate because, look, the backers are going to be passing it a lot. And any of their wideouts, because that's just how good Aaron Rodgers is that he can succeed without Devonte Adams. And before you go, can he? Yeah, he can, because you look back at 2019, Devonte Adams missed 6 games due to hamstring injury, I believe, and another 2 games due to calf injury. What were the he missed 4 games and then 2 games due to 2 separate injuries. What was the Packers' record during those 6 games? They were 6-0. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers' last 5 games without Devonte Adams. Rodgers went 17 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah, honestly, Tad, to sort of reinforce that, Vance Joseph was actually interviewed about this recently, where he said that when you have a team that sort of focuses in on one key receiver, in this case, obviously Devonte Adams, you can sort of trap an offense into like force feeding this guy so it negates everything else in the offense, or possibly forcing turnovers because they're going in one direction. Now, without that key element in your offense, being gone, now with the quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, exactly like you said, now since he's not so reliant on one option in the passing offense, he can spread the field, go wherever he wants, find the open receiver wherever he may be, and that just makes your offense surprisingly more dangerous because you don't have a key option like Devonte Adams. So Vance Joseph actually said this is actually more dangerous to face Aaron Rodgers without Devonte Adams because you don't know where he's going to go. There's so many options that he can sort of rely on. So it's actually scarier to face Aaron Rodgers without Devonte Adams. So I completely agree with you there.
I call it the Peyton Manning effect, right? Aaron Rodgers has the same effect where you could put me or you in at receiver and they'd make us look good. Because they are just that good. As you look at what Peyton Manning did with guys like Austin Collie,
Anthony Gonzalez.
I knew I was missing another white guy. Thank you. I was like, there's a white guy. He was a slot guy. I'm blanking on his name. Anthony Gonzalez. You look at what these guys do when they move on from Brady or Manning, they suck. And so that's why Rodgers has that same effect. So, yeah, Rodgers has a brilliant ability to make every receiver around him good. So, especially fantasy-wise. St. Brown, I am not trying that first name again. St. Brown, I'm looking out for him. I actually disagree with you. I could see Cobb having a good game. And Tonyan, definitely top of my list for breakout candidate this Thursday. Another guy to look out for, like you said, could also be a run-heavy game. I could see that happening, of kind of like battle, especially with the Cardinals. I won't say great, but very efficient running game between James Conner and Chase Edmonds now. But if you're talking about the Packers, look out for A.J. Dillon, man. He is I won't say breakout year, but he's definitely having a better year than his rookie year. He's had 37 carries over the last 4 games. And while his usage has definitely been inconsistent, they're clearly grooming him to be at least the top dog if Aaron Jones leaves early or if they trade him early. But at the very least, they're definitely grooming him to be just as good as Jamal Williams was before he left. So that means good fantasy usage because Jamal Williams was a solid running back too all of last season. So while A.J. Dillon's not quite there, look out for this to be one of those games where they keep feeding him the ball on top of Aaron Jones. So A.J. Dillon could have a good game as well.
Yeah, throw in the fact also that Arizona's defense, while playing well, their rush defense is still very susceptible to being beat.
Their secondary is the strongest part. Yeah,
exactly. So they're allowing the 12th most rushing yards in the league, and they're allowing 5 yards exactly per attempt, which is second worst in the league. So I mean, that's why I said that we could be seeing a lot of Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon in this game specifically because of the losses in the passing offense there. But yeah, we'll see exactly what happens there. Let's flip it to the Cardinals side. They're playing a tough offense. They're playing a very tough defense in the Packers. They're actually pretty good. Obviously, once again, it gets overshadowed by how well Aaron Rodgers is playing, but this is going to be the toughest offense that the Packers defense is going to be facing because you have to look at the fact that Cardinals are tied for second most points in the league. Sorry, not tied. They are scoring the second most points in the league, fourth in most yards gained, and are tied, surprisingly, with the Packers for the 6th fewest turnovers in the league. So this is not a team that's going to turn it over easily. They get a lot of yards. They obviously get a lot of points, and this is going to be a very...
Don't forget, by the way, all these stats are off a terrible game against Cleveland. I bet you if you erase that game, these stats are all a lot better. Which is crazy because those are some pretty good stats you were shouting out.
That's true. And they've scored at least 31 points in 6 of the 7 games that they have played this season. Crazy. So, this offense is absolutely cooking with gas right now, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Packers defense can slow them down. Packers defense, like I said, they are pretty good this year. They're allowing the 10th fewest points in the league, and they're actually forcing the 7th most turnovers. So maybe this is a situation where Arizona, unfortunately, they just go a different way and they're forced into a situation. Eric Stokes, I know we were sort of talking about the fact that it was bad that the Packers took him in the first round. He's been playing really well as a starting position because Jair Alexander has been out with an injury, right? Eric Stokes has stepped up and he's been playing really well. Yes, maybe the valuation of being a first-round pick is a little bit still surprising, but he's been living up to that expectation so far. So we'll see if he can continue that going into a very crucial game here, knocking Arizona off from the undefeated pedestal there, make them a one-loss team possibly by the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, you mentioned this earlier, but James Conner, this is so surprising, Tad. I'm going to give you some stats here. So he has not had a single start this year. He has under 100 rushing attempts, yet he is tied for second in most rushing touchdowns in the league. This is just so surprising. He is the epitome of a touchdown vulture in this offense because on the flip side, Chase Edmonds has 0 touchdowns, either rushing or receiving. This guy just, for some reason, has not found the end zone in 7 weeks. And that's all because James Conner, as soon as they get to the red zone, they just hand it off to him. He plunges in, he scores, and it's just very surprising. So it's just if you need a running back, and for some reason James Conner is still out there, go pick him up because he is an excellent touchdown vulture, especially if you're playing in a PPR league, because touchdowns are still worth 6 points for a running back if you're scoring off, based on basic standard settings.
It's obviously a little bit that doesn't count for 6. Get out.
Exactly. So if he scores twice in a league without getting too many rushing yards, that's 12 points already. That's not bad at a flex position if you need help there.
That's
so
not
it's
bad, dude. My flex is scoring 12. I am bouncing off the walls. Happy.
Exactly. So James Conner is a really good addition. We'll see what sort of fantasy points Kyler Murray can sort of gain here. He's still been playing really well, so I think he'll still have a really good day. The passing offense around him, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, all of these guys should get involved. Zach Ertz, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little bit more involved. The Packers linebackers are not that great as they used to be. They may be able to leverage that, some seam routes up the middle. You leverage Zach Ertz a little bit more, get into the red zone, score him that way. So yeah, this is actually a very, like you said, we started it off this way, but it's this is one of the better matchups that we're going to see on Thursday Night Football. Fantasy implications are going to be very interesting both ways, but Tad, you got any final thoughts here as we sort of wrap this up here?
Just to give people a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look, is literally right before we start recording this episode, I was looking at my trade offers in my other league, not the league that Amar and I share, but my other league with my college friends, and one of them offered me Chase Edmonds, and I would give up Josh Jacobs. And at first I was like, honestly, that's not terrible. And so, God, I hope my friends don't listen to this podcast. So I just gave them some great insider trader info there. But I asked Amir, I'm like, man, what do you think? Because that's not bad. And Amir looks at me dead serious. He goes, at least Josh Jacobs scores. I'm like, yeah.
It's so true.
I was like, that's a very good point.
Honestly, because it's it's very surprising that Chase Edmonds has yet to score. I think I remember seeing a stat on Twitter that he was one of the players that has tallied the most amount of yards without scoring a touchdown. He's on that list. It's not good to be on that list. It's
the thing is, I feel like, as our listeners know, I exclusively watch my football in red zone, basically. So I feel like every time the Cardinals run the ball, it's, hey, here's Chase Edmonds for 15 yards. And then it's just okay, it's Christian Kirk or AJ Green or DeAndre Hopkins or, what was Max Williams. Now Zach Ertz for a touchdown. That's just always how it was. It's run into the red zone and then toss it into the end zone.
Yeah, or James Conner vultures the touchdown like he has been doing all season long.
Of course, for the first year, I don't have that motherfucker on my roster for 2 years. Now all of a sudden he's good. But no, here's what's interesting. I'm really glad you brought these two names. Was DeAndre Hopkins. He's on my roster in the same league where I was offered that trade. I'm a little worried. Spoiler alert, we're recording this on Tuesday night. He was questionable on Monday. And so I was like, okay, I'm sure that's just health related. And then I got back from work today. Open up my computer, and yes, this is how obsessed I am. First thing I do when I get back from work, check my fantasy team. And I saw he was still questionable. I'm like, why is that still there? So I clicked on it. He goes, he didn't practice today. I'm like, oh, no. So he's currently struggling with a hamstring injury. So if he practices on Wednesday, not that worried. He should be good to go. If he doesn't practice on Wednesday, I'm starting to get a little worried. That's something to keep your eye on as Thursday goes along. Thank God I now have Wi-Fi at work now. So something to keep your eye on, especially because if DeAndre Hopkins is ruled out because of the hamstring injury, oh my, Christian Kirk, AJ Green, Zach Ertz, all those guys' stock shoots way up. Because like I said, I think this is going, honestly, here's my entire thoughts on this game. This is going to be a great game offensively for both teams. Like, I think both teams, if you have a guy start like a true starter on both sides of the ball, you're going to do great. So another guy, though, I'm glad you brought up was Zach Ertz because, look, I know he's getting a lot of hype because he had 3 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. You have to remember, 47 yards of those 66 came on 1 catch, which was piss poor defense. And I think if you play any other team, because it looked like he wasn't running any faster than a 5-second 40-yard dash on that run, any other team except for the Texans, I don't think that's a touchdown. So my whole thing is I am not sold on Zach Ertz yet because if you look at Max Williams, he did the same thing where he would have a great week one week and then do very little to nothing the next week. So I'm not totally sold on Zach Ertz yet. I'm not saying he's going to for sure be a bust this week, but I'm saying if you have Zach Ertz and you have if you have Zach Ertz and you have Jared Cook or Hunter Henry on your bench, I would think about starting Jared Cook or Hunter Henry over Zach Ertz right now. I'm not totally sold on him being having this revived career in Arizona. Not because he's not good, but just because the target share on that offense is so vast. I'm not sold on him being able to consistently find success.
That's fair. That's fair. We'll have to see exactly how much he gets involved with that offense, but I think they traded for him for a reason. I think he'll steadily get more involved. And like I said, I think I like his hopes for this week against the Green Bay Packers, but yeah, we'll have to see exactly what happens. And really quick on DeAndre Hopkins, I think he's another guy very similar to Julio Jones, where it's just like, he will play, he'll fight through it, he'll be just fine. Maybe he'll miss a couple series here and there during the game, but I think overall, his status will not be in doubt. He will be able to play.
You'll see him with a roller on the sidelines and all
exactly
that crap,
the massage guns or whatever they use now, the fancy tech or whatever.
Those are great, dude.
Yeah, so I bet you he'll be using those.
Every time I was over at his house, I'm like, you mind if I try it? He's like, yeah, sweet. It feels so good.
Staying loose on the stationary bike. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that he could be doing, but yeah, overall, I think he'll probably play. But yeah, like Tad said, keep an eye on it just in case they decide to hold him out, because then they get the mini bye week, obviously playing on Thursday Night Football. They don't have to play again until the following weekend. So obviously they want to keep him long term because I think this team has playoff aspirations. So we'll see about that.
I'm not so sure about that. Are you sure?
We'll see. So, yeah, this is good. Like I said, I mean, sorry to sound like a broken record here, but this is going to be a very good game. Like Tad said, I think it's going to be possibly a very high-scoring game. I think both offenses are going to be able to score at will if they really want to. It's going to come down to, like, who could finally stop a team from scoring. That could possibly be the difference maker here. So, yeah, I mean, both options may be a little bit limited for the Green Bay side, but on the Arizona side, if you got any players there, I think you should definitely be starting them. On the Green Bay side, Aaron Rodgers, a must start. I mean, I don't know why I need to say that, but he is. In case you're thinking about starting somebody else, you need to start him. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, that Tad brought up earlier, would be a really great addition. I like Tad likes Randall Cobb. I'm not so high on him this week, but we'll see about that. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. Robert Tonyan should have a really good game as well. So, Tad, any final thoughts here with the Thursday night matchup here?
Just one real quick question. Final score prediction.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm thinking Packers knock them off. So I'm liking the Packers in this game. Yeah, okay. Yep. I think the Packers knock them off. I'm just going to say 34-27 Packers.
I'm going 31-21 Cardinals.
Okay. All right. We'll see exactly what happens. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in for our Thursday Night Fantasy Football analysis here. You see the sticker. We point it out every time. We're always going to point it out because it's really cool. You got all the various handles to follow us for any fantasy advice that you may have coming up over the weekend with trade offers, start sits, waiver wire attacking, like however you want to get some support. We're here to help you out. You got my handle, Desai23, Tad's at Tad Desai 94, the Desai Guys. Interact with us. We want to help you out with your fantasy rosters. We're here to help you out. And to everybody that tunes into the YouTube, who tunes into the podcast, who subscribes, who listens, who rates us, anything and everything, can't thank you enough, guys.